Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to do something different and completely out of my wheelhouse. I want to talk about cell phones, and I want to do a little comparison side by side so that you guys can see how my 2-year-old cell phone and my brand new cell phone compare with Marvel Future Fight gameplay, lag-wise, graphics-wise, etc. And you can sort of come to your own conclusions about the devices. I'm not doing this video as an ad or a sponsorship whatsoever, and I'm not doing this to say that you should upgrade your phone to play Marvel Future Fight. I'm obviously in a unique position where it's my job to play video games, so me buying new devices to play those video games on is basically an investment in the channel and an investment in my future job, so in my job future. So yeah, the other thing is I've never actually had 2 cell phones at one time. So this puts me in a sort of unique position where I can do this. Before we go any further though, I want to say 2 things. One, I'm not a professional reviewer. I'm not going to start up a tech channel or anything like that. There's so many amazing tech channels out there, Linus Tech Tips, MKBHD, etc. Go hit those people up if you are curious and you want actual professional opinions on those sort of things. I'm just giving you sort of my anecdotal evidence and just my opinion more as an MFF gamer who's then playing MFF on different phones, not actually trying to review these phones individually. Secondly, again, like I said, it begs repeating, this is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form, so yeah. Anywho, for the better part of 2 years, just to give you guys a little bit of background, I have been playing MFF on this phone for all of the content that you see on YouTube and Twitch. This is the OnePlus 7 Pro. I actually dropped it at one point. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's got cracks underneath the glass. It's kind of hard to see, but you can kind of see some of the spidering on the cracks. Anyways, it doesn't matter. It works fine. It's been a workhorse for me. I've used it every single day for like 8+ hours for over 2 years, and it's been a fantastic phone. I could actually, and I would actually recommend this phone, even though it's already 2 years old. It runs most of the content in the game at a very high level with very little issue. The one game mode, well, there's actually 2 game modes where I do notice some drop off is Alliance Battle and Alliance Battle Extreme. Actually, just Alliance Battle Extreme. I do notice some drop off there, but much more recently, I noticed some pretty brutal drop off in Dispatch. Now we're going to go into a Sector 9 Dispatch, and I'm going to load up one run here without energy with this team, and I want you guys to, I'm just going to make sure all my settings are maxed out. Yep. And we're going to do high frame rate speed on auto repeat. This is important here. This is a setting that some of you guys forget about, but you probably want to drop that to low when you're doing like overnight farming. But we're going to put it on high just to illustrate the vast difference between this 2-year-old phone, which is still amazing by the way, and a newer phone that I got. So I'm going to be running the mission over here while I'm talking about the newer phone, and you guys can see what happens to the frame rate and how the phone handles the gameplay. It's not bad per se, but it could definitely be better. Now, on the flip side, the brand new phone that I got that I mentioned in videos a couple days ago is the Red Magic 6. Now, this phone, there's 2 versions. There's the Red Magic 6 and the Red Magic 6 Pro. It actually has a headphone jack. I just realized that. It's got a headphone jack at the top. They don't make those too much anymore. Anyways, this is sort of like your dedicated gaming phone. It's like the Asus ROG 5 and those are the types of phones, the Blue Shark or whatever it's called, Black Shark Pro. I don't know what it's called. Anyways, there's gaming phones, right? There's regular phones, there's Apple, Samsung, etc. And then there's companies that go for the gaming phone. They have the gaming sort of swag design thing, whatever. Gaming's not really swag, but you sort of get what I'm saying. They have, optional vents on the sides, as you can see there. They'll have attachments for additional cooling and etc. like that. They'll have throughput design for charging. And yeah, so I got this phone. It was actually pretty decently priced. I think I got it for $600 US, which is not cheap, but considering the ROG 5 was like $800 or $900 US, it is quite a bit more, reasonably priced, and I was able to buy it directly from the manufacturer. And this was the issue that I was having for anyone out there, especially in North America, but especially in Canada. If you're looking for a gaming phone, there's really not that many options, and a lot of times in Canada, you're actually dealing with resellers. Resellers can be good. I'm not knocking resellers, but sometimes they can be not so good. Sometimes they can be misleading or just have bad information about which version of the phone you're buying, because they're just buying the phone from another country and then just shipping it to Canada or bringing it over to Canada, right? So here's where you're going to see the most brutal frame drops in Dispatch. And this is, again, on a OnePlus 7 Pro. This is 12 gigs of RAM. This is a Snapdragon 865, I think, or 855. It's not a bad phone by any means, right? When this phone came out, it was $1,000 or $900 in cost. But as you can see, dispatch is just a little bit too hefty for it. You can get around and you can reduce the amount of stuttering and sort of slideshow affecting if you do those options in the settings that I was showing you guys, like lowering the, and this is what I do, this is what I was doing up until now when I was farming overnight, right? I was going into the settings and I was dropping the quality to very low, drop it low, and then I was dropping the frame rate speed on auto repeat to low as well. And that was allowing me to actually farm the content a little bit more consistently and not have that sort of slideshow effect, which could end up crashing the phone. I'm not 100% sure, but you can see that's pretty brutal. It's going to be a little bit harder to show you guys in other content, but if there's tons of things going on the screen at the same time, like Alliance Battle Extreme, or to a lesser extent, if you do like World Boss, any World Boss, doesn't have to be World Boss Legend, but any World Boss Ultimate with 5 strikers, right? When you're doing your tier 3 skill, all the 5 strikers are coming in. The frame rate can get a little bit funky at times. You can lose frames here and there, and that actually ends up having a gameplay effect, believe it or not. It's hard to notice, but when you lose frames, you're also losing the data from those frames. I don't have concrete mathematical evidence or proof to back that claim up, but I know anecdotally, myself and others, when I switched from playing on an emulator, which was much laggier, to playing on a phone, my ABX scores went up a lot. And that's weird because the gameplay is very similar. Maybe I'm a little bit better on my phone than with a keyboard, but not enough to bump my score up 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 500,000 in some cases. I'm not joking. And a lot of other players have reported the same thing, because when you're losing frames, when the game is sort of lagging, it actually ends up losing some of your, like it loses some of the data of your damage along the way, because a lot of this stuff is just being calculated locally and then sent to the servers. So if it's being calculated locally and then data is being lost along the way because of lag, then that just never gets sent to the server for verification at the end to you know, check off your score. So yeah. So anyways, still like a 99% or 95% success rate on this OnePlus 7 phone. But now I want to show you guys this new phone so you guys can get a feel for what it looks like. So I'm actually going to unplug the phone and do it for you guys live. I'm just going to have to close MFF on my old phone, or the phone that I was just using, and open it up on the new phone. And we are going to plug it in here so we don't have too much dead, empty silence. There we go. We're booting this up. And we're going to see here, you can see that it's a different phone now because well, it's a different phone. Trust me, you'll be able to tell because there's no way that I can juice the phone. And actually, you know what? The phone might look different color-wise too. I noticed this a little bit, and you notice it with Apple devices versus Android. Apple tends to have like a different color. I don't know, the way that they interpret the colors is a little bit different. You can probably get them to look a little bit closer to each other in terms of Android if you play around with the settings for the display, but yeah. Anywho, we're gonna jump back in. Same exact team, same exact mission, same exact settings. Now you wanna see what the gameplay looks like and how it differs. The only thing we're gonna do actually is that right there, because that is what we did for the other one. We put the this is sort of the cinematic mode. This is also where I can get some of my thumbnails. So if any of you guys want like some cinematic shots or some cinematic thumbnails for your own use or for content that you're making, I will run, usually I run one character on dimension missions, not dispatch, on dimension missions. And I will turn the SFX on for their tier 3. And then when I'll record while they're doing their tier 3. So I can get like this really nice cinematic of their tier 3 without all the stuff in the way, without the icons and things like that. It also takes away all of the buttons that you would have in the skill preview. It'd be really cool if they would let us do that in the skill preview, to just hide all the buttons, hide the display, because then it would make it a lot easier and faster. But yeah, that is how I do it. Just a sort of quick behind the scenes on how I get some of my images for thumbnails and stuff like that. But yeah. So this is smoother. It's definitely smoother. There's other things that the phone does better, like it has a bigger battery. The battery doesn't drain as quickly, but that's sort of to be expected, right? A phone that was made 2 years ago and is already 2 years into its lifespan. Like, I've been working this phone like a dog. But not like a dog, like a horse. I've been working this phone like, you know, like a horse. So yeah, I would expect this newer phone. The battery is brand new, right? I would expect it to handle things better. But yeah, so not only do we get to Punisher faster, I believe, but look at this. We're in the fight here. Just maybe wait a couple seconds for us to start popping off awakening skills and tier 3s and things like that. But as you can see, zero slide showing. Zero. Maybe there's a frame drop here or there. but it's very hard to tell. There's the Awakening skill from Valkyrie, there's the tier 3 from Ghost Rider being popped off, and that's it. And there's no frame drop at all. That's a pretty stark difference. Now, hopefully the devs don't introduce, like, you know, hopefully we don't continue to have really high polygon, high pixel sort of action introduced to the game. Although I really like Dispatch because you get to see 3 characters fighting side by side, like at the same time, which is really cool. Normally we're just used to seeing 1 character at a time, whether it's GBR or World Boss or Story Mode or Timeline or whatever. It is really, really cool to see 3 at the same time, especially if you do like a thematic team like Null, Carnage, and Venom. This is really dope, all the symbiotes popping off at the same time. But yeah, obviously it can be really brutal on some older phones, and even for not so older phones, it can still turn it into a slideshow. But yeah, I thought it would just be an interesting comparison to show you guys where the technology goes 2 years later and how it's reflected in a game like MFF. Because believe it or not, MFF is actually one of the more high, I don't want to say like high maintenance games, but one of the reasons, for example, why the videos, like any YouTuber that does MFF, or they don't even have to be a YouTuber, anyone who uploads MFF content, any kind of MFF recording, it's never quite crisp quality. It gets a little blurry once you get into the action because there's so many polygons, there's so many different colors, there's just not enough bandwidth to, you know, interpret all of that data and replicate it frame after frame because it changes so much so drastically. We don't really think about it, right? But we do talk about it in the sense of talking about, I can't see what's going on. It's that effect, right? You're doing Doctor Strange's skill rotation, you're like, I don't know where I am, I don't know where the boss is, I know that his health is going down because the bar's moving, and I'm pressing my buttons just like the rotation says, so things are working out, but you know, I'm basically doing this blindfolded because I can't see what's going on. The screen is covered in effects. But when the screen is covered in effects, that's why the quality, not the frame rate, but the quality is actually going to drop. Even though it says 1080p or whatever, it's going to look more like 720 or sometimes even 480. And that's just a product of the game. We may end up seeing that worse, or we might see it better with Marvel Future Revolution, but the game does look very similar to MFF in the sense of having these big, you know, amazing looking animations. I'm not complaining. I love this game, and Marvel Future Revolution looks amazing. But it's just a little interesting piece of information because you compare it to a game like Contest of Champions, and that game has much more muted animations in the sense that you're really only getting to get those big flashy moves with the specials, and even then those can be sort of custom tailored and custom designed because they're, you know, it's just a button that you press and then it exists in a vacuum rather than it happening while the boss could be moving, while things could be happening, the camera's changing, etc. They're loading up different scenes and stuff like that. So yeah, this game actually does put a pretty big, it takes a pretty big toll on your phone, on your device. So it's cool to see how, you know, things have changed and how things have evolved in the last 2 years. So yeah, not my regular video, I know, but I'm curious to hear what you have to say. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know down below what you think, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.